How's it going, guys? But of course, you'll be seeing today is a breakdown and review of the SAR-21 assault rifle, obviously available for the assault kit in Battlefield 4. What I'm going to do, of course, as you might expect, is I'll give you all of the symptic stats, painting the picture of the relevant ranges, attachments, etc. that you should be using for this weapon, and hopefully put you in the situation for maximum success if you choose to use this weapon. What I'm going to do, as usual, is compare this weapon to another weapon. And the one I chose for assault rifle wise to compare to is the SAR-H, because both are available early on in terms of in the weapon unlock progression for the assault kits. And what I'll do, of course, is because this weapon here is a medium to long range specialty. It's basically, if you're a good shot, this weapon will make you an absolute surgeon downrange. And the SAR-H is very similar. The SAR-H has a higher damage model and more recoil, but that being said, it's that medium to long range specialty that makes these two weapons very, very similar, and that's why I'm going to point this weapon as a point of comparison to the SAR-H. And for example, the AEK is a much higher fire rate, and it's more, well, ideally it's short to medium range, but the skilled weapons, their skilled players can use it at longer range as well. But that being said, I feel this and the SAR-H are the two, especially because you can unlock them early on, like I said, are the two weapons that are going to have the most in common, and why you should probably choose this one over the other. So here we go. First things first, when I actually paint you the picture with regard to the synthic stats, this weapon here is the standard damage model for assault rifles at 25 as the max, 18 as the minimum. The damage drop-off starts at 8 meters and ends at 55. The fire rate 600 rounds per minute, which of course tells you the story that this weapon is going to be a medium to long range specialty. The muzzle velocity is 650 meters per second, and the magazine size is 31, and it fires a 5.56 by 45 NATO round. Now, comparing this to the SAR-H, the SAR-H immediately has the higher damage model of 34 max, 25 minimum. The fire rate's slightly higher at 620, but there's two things going for the SAR-21 so far, and that's muzzle velocity, because the muzzle velocity of the SAR-21 is much, much higher. It's basically, from the looks of it, it's 240 meters per second higher on quick look. And the magazine size is only 21 for the SAR-H. So those are the two biggest things going for the SAR-21 so far. The reload time is 3.4 seconds when completely empty and 2.3 seconds when there's a round left in the chamber for the SAR-21, which is slower than the SAR-H on both accounts. But when in terms of the recoil, the vertical recoil is 0.18 versus the SAR-H's, which is 0.5. So obviously there's a very, very significant difference in terms of lower recoil, at least vertically, in the SAR-21. There is no telltale direction in terms of horizontal recoil at 0.2 left and 0.2 right, which is similar to the SAR-H, which for me is good, because these weapons that don't have a telltale direction in terms of recoil are the ones that I tend to have the most success with, and it's always been this way through every FPS I've ever played. So these weapons would absolutely fall into the most weapons I'd probably want to use. First shot recoil multiplier for the SAR-21 is 1.8, but it's only 1.6 for the SAR-H. So first shot recoil multiplier is higher, and I don't know why that's the case. Maybe just for balance purposes, because the SAR-H fires a larger caliber round. You'd expect the recoil for first shot multiplier would be higher for that, but again, we won't get into that. The spread increase per round is 0.078. For the SAR-21, which is actually lower than the 0.12 that the SAR-H has. So the spread will increase less, and the recoil is far less than the SAR-H. So far so good here. In terms of the attachments, I almost always use the Coyote or Red Dot sight. That's sort of a given. I barely even have to say that anymore. In terms of the accessory, that's subjective. You can use the laser sight if you feel you're going to be getting into close range hip fire encounters. This one's a bit different in terms of the barrel. You can use the flash hider with no problem. You can use... I like to use the heavy barrel because it improves aimed fire accuracy by 50% at the cost of 50% more muzzle climb. But because the vertical recoil on this thing is so low anyway, it's not a big concern. But on top of that, tap or burst fire will completely negate the rest anyway. So you can basically use the heavy barrel with no issue. And the underbarrel, you can use the ergonomic grip if you really want, if you're going to be hip firing a lot, moving on the move. But I tend to use the angled grip because It has a higher first shot recoil multiplier than the SAR-H, so knocking that down is only going to make you even more of a surgeon downrange. And on top of that, as long as you aren't moving using this weapon, it's fine. Because that's my overall impression of this weapon is if you stay in medium to longer range, as you might expect, it can hold its own against any weapon in the game. It's that good. Just make sure you're not moving as you shoot, so that way you maximize the effect of the heavy barrel and tap or burst fire for max effectiveness. And that's basically it. Have a good one, YouTube.